Welcome to the From Caterpillars to Butterflies Personal Growth Podcast. Just like the caterpillar is destined to become a butterfly, you too are designed for a beautiful transformation. This is where you go to grow and transform your life. And now, here's your host, Certified Life Coach, Charlene Dior.
Hi there, this is Charlene. I am your host and I'm so excited to be here. This is the first ever episode of From Caterpillars to Butterflies, the podcast, and I am so glad that you have joined me. I wanted to take this first episode to introduce myself and to let you know what you can expect. So I am a certified life coach and I am certified also in mindfulness meditation. I am the founder of FromCaterpillarstoButterflies.com and I am a bit of a personal growth self-improvement junkie. I love personal growth. I love reading self-help books. I'm not a big fiction reader, but I love reading nonfiction. I love reading self-help. I love going to events and seminars and those sorts of things. I've gone to several this year and I'm such a fanatic. And I just believe that the purpose of life is for us to grow. And we have to always be growing so that we can always be accomplishing what we want to accomplish and always be advancing and improving ourselves and our contributions and everything that there is to experience in this life. So I definitely believe that personal growth has to be a lifestyle. There's always a gap between where you are and where you want to be. I think sometimes we judge the gap and we let the gap tell us that we're unworthy or that we are not capable of accomplishing certain things and we let the gap define our self-worth. But the truth of the matter is that as long as you are alive, you will have a gap. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, if you are fully alive and fully present in this thing called life, you will have a gap. So it's nothing to judge. It's just to acknowledge and to be able and willing to close the gaps. And the way that you close the gaps is by growing. So how did I get to this place of growth and wanting to be an advocate for growth, for my own growth and really for the growth of other people? I went through an experience several years ago where I was just unhappy. And it wasn't that anything was wrong. I wasn't battling with anything. I wasn't depressed. I was just not fulfilled. I wasn't satisfied. And no matter what I did, I just couldn't shake it. I could not overcome it. And that's when I first started being introduced to teachers like Les Brown and Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn, just for searching for something to change my life because I was having a hard time doing that on my own. I just knew that this couldn't be all that there was to life, that I just couldn't have reached the pinnacle of life. I just knew that there was something else available to me and I couldn't settle for where I was. And that was the beginning. That was the birth of personal growth as a lifestyle for me, as something, as a tool and a resource to really overcome the stages of life that can tend to get us down. During this time, I was at the bookstore in the coffee section because I used to go to the bookstore and just read books and take notes and do things like that as I was embarking on this personal growth journey. And so on one occasion, I was in the bookstore in the coffee section where they sell things. And there was a coffee mug that said, "Just when the caterpillar thought its world was over, it became a butterfly." And that spoke to my soul. I was like, oh my goodness, I think I am becoming a butterfly. I have been stuck inside this cocoon and it is time for me to break out of it. And that's where this idea of From Caterpillars to Butterflies came from, because I've kind of been obsessed with them ever since. I think that they are such an example for us. They're an example that we're supposed to grow. We're meant to transform and to improve, and there's something else more beautiful in store for us if we're willing to embrace our growth opportunities. But a lot of times, I think that we avoid growth. And we say things like, I was like this when they met me. I was like this when he married me. I was like this when she hired me. And we say these things that give ourselves permission to stay the same. And we say that we're just keeping it 100, which is crazy to me. If you don't know that you have to grow, you are in for a lifetime of dissatisfaction and unfulfillment and mediocrity. You totally have to grow. But I think the reluctance and the hesitation to grow is because we feel that if we acknowledge that we have a growth opportunity, we are admitting that we are flawed or inadequate in some way. Years ago, my first job out of college, I was in my director's office and he said to me, "Charlene, do you need help with networking?" And I said, "Well, yeah, everybody does." I made it okay to admit that that was a weakness for me, that was a growth opportunity for me by saying that it was the same growth opportunity for everyone else, because we are afraid to say that this is a weakness for me, that I have room to grow here, because we think we are, again, admitting that we're just not good enough. And nobody wants to admit that they're not good enough, because the truth is that we fight those thoughts on our own anyways. We don't need to start speaking them out loud to other people. And so we tend to stay the same, and we tend to stay stuck because we can't acknowledge or appreciate that growth is natural and it's beautiful. And we will get divorced so we can avoid growing, and we will lose relationships and friendships and career opportunities. We will miss out on any and everything just to avoid growing, because we've been like this, because we're keeping it 100. But that is not what I believe we're supposed to be doing. I believe that we are meant to grow, just like the caterpillar. Just like the caterpillar transforms into this beautiful butterfly. And the interesting thing is that there's purpose in being a caterpillar. There's purpose in every stage of that life cycle. A caterpillar's focus and job is to eat and eat and eat so that it can grow and grow and grow. If the caterpillar does not eat enough, it will not survive the cocoon. There will never be a butterfly. So a caterpillar has a specific purpose to fulfill. There's nothing wrong with being a caterpillar. Just like there's nothing wrong with being the current you. There's nothing wrong with being the current Charlene. But there is something wrong with staying the current Charlene. There's something wrong with staying a caterpillar, because a caterpillar has a much more bigger, beautiful future in store. So we don't have to look at our current situation as us not being good enough. But we have to know and to accept and to acknowledge that we just can't stay here. And sometimes life will do that to you. Like for me, just being so dissatisfied and unhappy and not being able to shake it, life did that to me. It drew me into wanting to grow, because I didn't want to live my whole life like that. There was no other solution. I had to grow or settle. And I wasn't settling. And so sometimes life will bring us along and to make us grow. And other times we have to grow in order to bring life along. When life gets stuck and stagnant, sometimes we have to move first, and we have to grow in order to get life to go where we want it to go. But I honestly believe that everything that we could possibly want is within reach. We just have to be willing to grow. That means being committed to learning things that you don't already know, to overcoming the limiting beliefs that you hold that impact your life. It means being exposed to new ideas and new people and new concepts, and being willing to invest your time and your money into yourself. I never understood this idea where people won't invest in themselves, but they will set goals on their job, but they won't set goals for their own life. Or they will buy tickets to a concert, but they won't buy tickets to a personal growth event. I just never understood that. You should invest in you more than you invest in anybody else, more than you invest in your employer, more than you invest in your favorite artist. You should invest in you. You should invest in you. And the fact that you are here listening to this podcast means that you are investing in yourself. And that's a great start. When I started investing in myself, things really started to shift for me. And I just started enjoying life more and finding fulfillment more when I started investing in myself and in my own knowledge, and opened up this whole other world of possibilities. And now, you can't undo that. You can't unlearn it. When I started investing in myself through personal growth, I realized the impact that it had on my life. It had an impact on the way I felt about myself. It had an impact on the way that I felt about life itself. It had an impact on what I thought I was capable of doing and achieving and receiving. It really made a difference for me in the way that I lived my life, and I embarked on many journeys. And so I saw firsthand what personal growth could do, and I became passionate about sharing that with other people. And that's what led to being a coach, and that's what led to the website, from caterpillars to butterflies.com. And now this podcast, it's another way that I get to share my passion with personal growth and how it can really make a difference in your life. Because there's so much potential available to all of us, but a lot of times we can't see it, and we let our current selves stop us from our future selves because we don't grow. And so this podcast is all about growth. So you're going to learn tools and techniques and strategies to improve yourself so that you can improve your life. That's what you can expect from this podcast. There will be lessons from me. I'll invite other guests on to share their knowledge with you. There will be meditations on some of the episodes, but if you are not able to meditate, don't do it. If you're driving or cooking or doing something, don't do it. But that's a little of what you can expect from me. And I would absolutely love to hear from you. So you can go to www.fromcaterpillarstobutterflies.com and reach me. I'd love to hear, what do you want to learn? I'd love to hear, where are you most stuck in your life? I'd love to hear what prevents you from moving forward, from investing in yourself, and what I can do and teach and share that can help move you forward. This podcast really is not for me. It's for me because I'm enjoying it so far, but it's really because I want to share something. There's things inside of me that I want to get out, that I want to share. And so I want to make sure that I am making at least a small difference in the lives of my listeners. So if there's something that you want to know or you want perspective on, I will definitely listen to all recommendations and hopefully be creating some podcasts on those topics based on the feedback that I get from you guys. So I'm super excited about where this can go. I'm super excited that you have joined me for the journey, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So come back and listen often. Download the podcast, subscribe, rate me, and of course, most importantly, reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. Until then, you can go to my website, www.fromcaterpillarstobutterflies.com, to look around, learn more about me. I have some freebies on there, some free gifts to help you get started on your personal growth journey. Until next time, grow on purpose.
Thanks for listening to the From Caterpillars to Butterflies podcast, your one-stop shop for all things personal growth. For today's show notes and even more tools and resources to help you transform the life you have into the life you love, go to www.fromcaterpillarstobutterflies.com.